policy. Remember, you should not create policies unless you have defined your problems first. Policy is a solution, so there's no point in having a solution unless it's dealing with the problem. Problems in eramba come in the form of compliance requirements, risks, or data flow analysis. Now, if I want to create a policy, all I do is I go to Actions, I click Add, and I start creating the policy. Of course, we do not create policies unless we are discussing this process with whomever is actually writing this policy. So let's say that I'm doing now Amazon AWS standards document. Remember, the module is called security policies, but you can upload any kind of document you want, a standard, a policy, a procedure, a contract, a template, I don't know, anything that resembles to a piece of paper. The point is we need to start writing this document, and we need to make sure that we have the right people. Sitting right next to me is the IT team members, and I will be then discussing with them. So the name of the document they have is called this way, a short description, standards used in our AWS environment. Yep. Owner and reviewer. Now this is something is important that you keep consistency. The owner will typically be someone in the GRC team, someone that has an interest in this solution to exist because there is a problem attached to it, right? So this GRC person understands the problem and also is qualified in theory to tell whether this solution actually deals with the problem. So the owner is that person. We always use groups. I recommend strongly to use groups. You can use user accounts, but it's much easier to work with groups. Please review the access management course before doing any of this. The reviewer will be the person that actually writes this document or executes these documents in some ways, yes? So in my case, that will be the IT team. You see, I have them here. We can then use tags. Tags are just ways to group things when you can then later use filters. I'm not going to use tags right now. Publish date, when the document was published. This is a date in the past. When the next review of this document will be. And again, this is something you need to agree in between yourself and the IT team. A policy that is, or a document that is very new, typically is reviewed oftentimes, much more frequently than one that has been there for a long time, because it's more subject to changes. Whatever you decide, just put a date, make sure you agree with this person, because if you're using enterprise, you can send notifications to this person to receive their feedback when it comes to the review. And of course, you want them to be aware that that will be the case. And yeah, everyone is well and aware. You can apply labels to your policies. These are things like confidential and public and these things. You can create labels in the asset module, settings labels. Once you create these labels, they will be shown to you here. You can link projects to your policy. So if the policy has some kind of problem, you can link projects. And we can talk about the status of the policy, draft and published. The difference is that in draft, the policy will not be shown on other modules, and in the case of published, it will be. Right, on the content side, the policy will have a type. In my case, it's a standard. If you want to add new types, remember you can do that. Now I ask the IT person what is the version of this document. He or she will tell me that it's 3.4. And now I can store my policy in 3 different ways. I can use content, meaning that I will write the document here. Attachments, where I will upload this policy using attachments, or I can use URLs. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to be using a URL. So I'm going to say that this is the document. Okay. Now, any further change that you want to do to this tab in particular, you won't be able to do it from this module, from the policy module. So if I edit the policy that I will create now, you will see that I won't be able to modify these things or these. I can modify other things, but not those in particular. Any further modification that you do in here will be done through reviews. And that's going to be explained in a minute when we do the next episode. Policy portal permission. It doesn't really matter if the policy portal is enabled or not. You control whether the policy is shown from here. So if the portal is disabled and you put public, no one will see the policy because the portal is disabled. So you need to enable the portal first. I'm going to put private because I don't want anyone to see this document. And I can relate this document with other documents. So if I will have an AWS policy, for example, and I want to link my standards to that, I could select that document from here. I just don't have it, so I'm going to do that now. Now, to keep the policy in the system, you just save it. And here we have our policy. Now, something I want you to see very quickly, we have 2 reviews. Every document, when you create it, will get 2 reviews. And that is explained in a different episode why that is the case. Now, the important thing is if I go and edit this policy, you see I am not able to change the review date. That's going to be changed from reviews, using reviews now on. And I cannot change also the content of the document, which again is handled through reviews. That's it. You got your policy.